All right, you ready to start, Lancer?
Let's start.
Okay. Do you want to start the event as well on
Already did. Good to
Facebook? Or
go.
you
So the
did,
treasury, I
man. You're
think,
so on
is
top of
frozen
it.
in time, isn't it? Flipside crypto is not updating.
That's my understanding. But I did ask Bodhi to put together a report because I know. Hey, Drum. I know Brian and Winston were asking for it. Did you want to? Are you able to do that right now, Bodhi? In the beginning of the meeting, is it ready?
Yeah. Yep.
Sweet. Is
So
there
how much?
anything you can give? Is there anything you can put in the chat to show so Lanzer can put it on the stream? Or how do you?
Yeah. Let me just I guess the one thing that we discussed a while ago was the public addresses. As far as like making these records public, I'll just I guess hide them for now. Like I can just take this column with the public addresses and make it small.
Yeah, I
That
mean
should
anyone
that should be
can snoop and find out stuff, but yeah, let's just do that for now. That's a good point.
okay. Yep. Give me
Nothing
just
there
a
for the treasury
second.
slide then. No voting updates as of yet.
What?
No, nothing is being voted now.
Okay. PIP accounting spreadsheet. Do we have any new payments that we've made?
Yeah, there's a lot of information missing there right now.
I fill it all in.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wondering the best way to share this because it's kind of a lot more information than just like the bottom line basically.
I think we should do
Maybe-
a separate page that
I can give a summary.
page.
I could give a summary really quickly, but
Sure.
if I
Okay,
send
can you
this,
at least
90% of the information on here is like it's just kind of like dates and time and names and addresses, and very little of
yeah.
this is actually the amount of money. But I'll send a. Do you just want me to give you a summary?
Yeah, just do a
I
summary,
mean,
and
Yeah.
then we'll work on it
Okay.
in council chambers.
Okay, so to date we have paid 19 million and just shy of 200,000, so it's 19,198,000 and some change in Atlas. And the approximate USD value, and that's basically all of the ecosystem fund pips, and then the Nabathon was also Atlas. The only USDC pip or disbursement we've had is to the foundation. But for now, I'll just talk about the Atlas. So it's been, like I said, just shy of 19,200,000 Atlas, which at this current price is just over $20,000 worth of Atlas. As far as the payments that we still have that are pending, we've got the Gamescon pip, which is depending on how many people show up. We don't really know exactly the amount that it will be. It will be at least $1,600. That was like their base cost. We gave them half of that up front, and so we have the other half at least. And then, but it will be up to euros, 1,600 euros. It'll be up to just over 4,200 euros is kind of like their max allocation. The Theo pip still has $5,000 worth of, and this is all coming out of Atlas. $5,000. We gave them the first half, and we have the second half that we got to get to them after a milestone. And then we have the Raiden pip, which is approved, but I'm waiting on Swagner to tell me. I'm pretty sure it will, because he got approved, and then shortly after we did the refill, which basically the reason that that's relevant is because the Raiden pip requested the basically maximum Atlas. in their PIP. They didn't give a specific amount, so they just said that whatever the max of 5% of the ecosystem fund is. So I'm pretty sure, based on the time that they were approved, it should be the refill amount. So I'm just gonna assume that that's the case. But again, I'm waiting for Swagner to tell me specifically. That's just under 8 million Atlas. It's like 7,985,000. And then the Comet PIP is the last one that we have pending, and that's basically for the
extension.
the extension for that GamesCon PIP. And that one is a euro amount. And so we'll have to calculate the exact amount of Atlas at the time of the disbursement, but at the current Atlas price, and it's also, if they're under budget, this is a maximum amount here. So it's just over 6 million Atlas. If we were to pay them out right now and they were to be at the max budget. So the total amount owed, as far as, because some of these are, there's a bit of a range there. So I'm just going to take the maximum. We're at about 23.5 million Atlas going out, which is in USD value, it's about 25,000. And then the last thing was the foundation payment, which was USDC. It was, I think, one of the first, if not the first. It was right along the same time as like the ecosystem fund, right? Initially getting funded. So that was a 67 point roughly $3,000 USDC disbursement, and that breakdown was $25,000 for the director himself, and then the rest, which is just well, actually it was a little bit more than 25,000. It was 25.6 was for the director himself, and then the rest, which was close to about 45,000, was for the foundation, like registration, I guess, and renewal fees. I'm not really, privy to
So
what that.
all the legal stuff and compliance.
Yeah, like the business side of it, I guess. And then the 25 was for his like personal fee. So that came out to 67.3 roughly thousand USDC, and then everything else I said was Atlas.
So how much 67,000 came out in USDC and how much in Atlas?
So far we've paid out just over 19 million Atlas, which is a little over $20,000 at this price.
Is that including the Iris bounty?
That is including the Iris bounty, yeah.
Okay.
This is what, across time, or is there a specific time window?
Well, the Iris. Are you talking about the Iris bounty? All that Iris bounty is still in that Iris
Multi-sig.
bounty fund.
No,
Yeah.
the 67,000 USD, the 19 million Atlas.
Well, the 67,000 USDC was to the foundation. That was like 11 months ago.
Oh, I see. That was an
So
individual.
this is the total, that everything,
Okay.
ever.
I'm just gonna delete
Yeah,
this.
exactly. Yeah.
All right.
So, and then if you want to add the Atlas that we've already sent out and include the Atlas that we have going out here pretty soon, it's just under 43,000. But again, some of those future payments are they're subject to change. Like the GamesCon one, they might not have 100 people there, so it might be a little cheaper. But roughly speaking, we're looking at a total of 42,700,000, including what we've sent out and what is already approved to go out, or
Okay.
less.
Cool.
Got it.
And I'd like to respond. How would you want to respond to Brian and Winston who are asking about it? Do you want to type something up, Bodhi, or do you want to use Lanzer's slide that he just made?
I think it should be an
Oh,
announcement,
did
right?
you just jot all that down? Made a slide? No, yeah. I mean, the numbers speak for themselves. So I don't, I understand people are talking about it not being publicly accessible. But we discussed this a while back. I don't remember exactly what we settled on, but the reason that we weren't opening up the same exact spreadsheet that we have to the public, which has literally everything on it, is the public addresses. Which, I mean,
Right,
admittedly,
but
everybody understands you
it-
can just get that from the
yeah,
chain, but
but
I
can
mean
you
it's a little
just make something and respond to them for us, or
I
can
can
we
do that.
just? Do you think your slide will be good enough, Lanzer? What do you?
I'd love to. I just removed it though because there were a lot of numbers that I didn't know how they fit
Okay,
together.
perfect. All
I
right,
can
yeah,
plug it
Bodie,
in.
if you wouldn't mind,
Plug
that'd be
those numbers
awesome.
It's always good to keep Lancer busy anyway.
Yep. Cool. Thank you,
Touche.
Bodie.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bodie. Cool. All right. Is there anything? I do have an update on the Iris Bounty that I do want to go over in this meeting. That's what I would like to go over. Does anyone else? I know
Iris
Lanzer.
Bounty. Okay.
Yeah,
Alright, I
we
put
have
that
our
one on
first
the
payout.
put that one above mine, so we can hit that one. What
Okay.
else?
That's all I had. Bodie, did you want to talk about anything? Or Drum, did you want to talk about anything?
No, maybe the elephant in the room, but other than that,
That's Lanzer's.
Oh, he already claimed that one. Dang it.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah, I claimed it right away. All right, accomplishments. I listed this one as an accomplishment interview with our foundation director Glenn, and even though I put it on the Sandbox DAO podcast as part of the foundation series, if you have any interest in how the Star Atlas DAO is run, the person who runs it, that found the foundation company, he was one who did the interview as a foundation director. So there's a lot to learn there if you're interested in DAOs and companies and stuff like that. How about y'all? Anything?
Hasn't been much on the treasury side of things recently. Just trying to get the comic guys in the Discord so I can start the disbursement process. So just waiting for their role, and then basically just waiting for Swagner to tell me whether or not we do this ride-in system before or after the refill.
Gotcha.
That's basically it on my side.
Okay. Carlos?
no, I've been
I'm gonna.
Oh,
in
import. My
chats.
bad.
No, you're fine. I just want to say it before I forget. Bodie's been in contact with, I think, Kawini,
Kawini.
and we had given our input in our council chambers. Do you want to give a quick update on
That's
that
right.
that thing?
Yeah,
Just real
that's
brief.
That's a good point. Okay, so let me pull up their PIP right now to get the specific numbers. It was so they did a GamesCon PIP, and then that passed, and then they added another PIP to like pick up some merch and stuff because they're going to this big convention, and they want to have like a flag that with the Star Atlas logo on it, and some giveaways like a raffle type thing. The PIP itself is for 5,700 euros. And it included a bunch of different things like I just described. But the items that they had specified came in when they went to go purchase them under budget. So they asked like, hey, can we take that extra money and use it basically to expand these raffles and these different items, which as council we all agree that wasn't a problem, and Swagner also agreed that as long as it stays under the overall budget, we didn't want to like micromanage that. It's all kind of in line with the same idea anyways, so it's just some of those things came in under budget, and then that allows them to expand some of the other things. Just the problem was they didn't really give themselves that I guess option within the PIP itself. They didn't have the word if, or
Yeah, they were very
basically.
specific.
it was super specific. So they kind of were like, man, we're coming in under budget, and that's a little bit of a bummer now because like they just couldn't like roll those funds over into making another part better. So
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah, they're talking
Yeah.
about here where it includes branded merchandise, printed materials, and all that. And what was the thing that they wanted to do again?
as far as what to do with the extra money,
Yeah.
let me read his message.
So they are just getting extra merchandise because it was a little lower than what they thought. So
Yeah.
they just want to get more to be able to give everyone. So basically, what they want to do is give everyone that goes to that party a souvenir, Stratla souvenir, branded souvenir,
Yeah. Okay.
like
So
a
they
T-shirt or
requested to
something like
get different merchandise, and we're okay with that as long as it stays under the 57.75 euro approved budget for PIP 18.
that. Correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he
cool.
said
Good to go.
he said other merch articles for the event that they could give away through the raffle is what he said.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
And I think
I
it's
think we're all good.
important to bring this up because it's, we're in unprecedented, we're still building this thing as we're going. And this was one of those calls that kind of I don't know if it's even a gray area or not, but it was an unknown area and we kind of made that decision together with Swags. And I think it worked really, really well. So I just kind of wanted that on the record.
Yeah.
Yeah, my train of thought was that the full amount was already approved by the policyholder, and if they get more bang for their buck, that's even better.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah,
The
we're
option B
setting a
would have been
precedent.
to ask him. The option B would have been to ask them to return the money they didn't use. Correct?
Yeah.
Right.
No,
Yes,
it would have
Emperor,
been
we're setting a precedent.
Oh well, pay
It's
less on the final
right.
payment. Okay.
Exactly. Yep.
Okay.
So yeah, in
Sounds
that
good.
vein about setting precedent, that's as we will discuss here in a little bit. We
All
just
right.
we just set precedent.
Emperor, you're up next.
Cool.
Iris Bounty.
Cool. Did you want to show the documents I put in the chat up on the stream?
In the council chat?
Yep. That one. Well,
The X post?
Yep. There's an X post, and then there's three. There's two Well, there's technically three. One of the pictures is the receipt. There's two of the group, and then there's a video. I think it'd be kind of fun to play that video. So yeah,
I see. Start list
this
Italia.
is. Yeah. So this was the first Iris Bounty request and the first meetup that happened. They got approved for $500. They provided 2 photos, a video, the receipt for what they spent money on, and a social media post, which is what we asked. They did offer to get us some more pictures if we want. I was hoping Signal would be here today because, part of doing this is getting content that we as a DAO can show. But while Lanzer's getting that stuff,
I'm
do
showing
you
it on screen
guys?
right now.
Oh, okay, good deal. Is the video or is the audio on?
I don't see the video yet.
Yeah, that looked
Okay,
like
the video. Yeah, so there's the X post, and then in our chat there's the pictures and the video.
Okay. I'll pull that up.
Yeah. So it looks like they had a good time. They spent $866, and we approved them for 500, and they understood that before they even did it, and they're okay with it. But I don't know. What do you guys? They did what we asked and provided what they needed. So.
But the bounty for Iris fees is Iris bounty. The fees is for, right?
Yeah. Correct. So I can't see the stream, so I don't know what's going on. Are you pulling it up?
Yeah, I'm trying to pull it up.
Why is that, Granddad?
Can you tell me how many people was it again?
What did he put? He didn't actually say how many. Oh, nope. Okay. So our meetup, first day, there were 8 of them. On the second day, 28 people showed up, and on the final day, there was 18.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's
somewhere
awesome.
from the Star Atlas world, but not part of the guild. So definitely a success. Ton of photos and videos.
20 people
receipts,
signed
so.
up and 18 showed.
No, the first day 8 were there. The second day, which is the big one, 28 people showed up. And then the
Wow.
final day there was 18. So I would say it was a massive success for $500.
8 plus
Yeah,
28
500
plus
bucks. That's
18.
awesome.
Yeah, 3-day event. That's beautiful.
That's cool. Yeah, that's exactly what the thing is for, huh?
So this is something we'll have to work on in the background, is getting them actually getting the payment to them through our multi-sig that is set up for us. I've done it before through squads, but we'll have to actually get it going. What is going on here?
I need to share the media player so everyone can see it. There
Okay.
you go. All right, you ready for me to play?
Yeah, it's a fun video.
All right, here we go. Oh, Santi was there?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, no, they're dedicating that to Santi.
Oh, they're dedicated to Santi. There you
That's
so
go.
awesome.
it's kind of fun.
That's super cool.
Yeah. So I told Toriander we would talk about it at our meeting today, and then get them paid. So
That's really cool. Nice job.
yeah.
Star
Do
Atlas
you-
Italia, was it?
Yeah. Yep.
Did you get a
You
wallet
guys
address
haven't.
yet?
It's in the
In the form, right?
Google sheet. Yep.
Right. I think we should do that Monday.
Yep. I would agree.
So we create the instance and we all sign, or at least the 4 signatures that we need, or 3. Is it? It's
I
easy.
can't remember what he set up. Yeah, it's easy. We use squads in my former guild all the time, so it works pretty slick.
Cool.
So that's the update on the Iris bounty. Unless you guys have any other input.
That's awesome.
No,
Congratulations.
that's super cool. Yeah.
Star Atlas Italia.
And I'm going to the next one, which is the Valencia, right?
Yep.
Yeah, we have the reservation for the restaurant. Everything is set.
Very cool.
Birras, I
Very
think, is
cool.
organizing that. Oh, who did input the form?
Santi did.
Oh, Santi. Okay. I'm excited. I haven't met Santi in person yet. I met Michael, but not Santi.
It is a bizarre thing meeting people in real life. It is a blast. It's unreal. It's just fun. So
I had my
Yeah.
first meetup the other day. It was in Cancun. I met
sweet.
with Sherwood from the AEP.
Oh, cool.
That was my first
Too cool.
time. It's cool.
That's a little weird, isn't it?
Dude, we were both like, whoa, I did not expect you, like
Yep.
yeah, you kind of, it's not like you paint a picture in your mind, really. It's just like you just really get to see you get to like actually get to know them, and then it's like, okay,
Yeah.
it's just so different, man. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. That's awesome. But cool. That's all I had. Does anyone else want to talk about anything before the big one?
Yeah,
I
I'm
think
good.
as far as this public facing ledger here or accounting, I think I'm going to maybe, I mean, can we just share this document? Like, do we, I mean, I was personally an advocate of keeping the address not public, but I mean, if everybody's okay with it, like I don't really care that much.
Post
It would be a
it
lot
Let's-
easier
It is what it is.
to
post it in the council chambers chat. What I normally do is I can create an automated sheet that you can share every time.
Yeah,
it's
that
pretty
only
simple
shows
to
the
do.
information we want to show.
Yeah, and it'll only
In
share
case
what
we don't want
what
to
we
show
need.
anything, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Post
the
it.
other thing
Okay.
we could do, the other thing we could do is just ask the author, and unless someone says explicitly don't share the public address, most people I think won't have an issue with that.
Okay. Yeah, just
Right.
post the link in
Well,
Council Chambers chat. I'll create it.
let me
The
clean up
right way
some
to
of
do
the.
this would be to create an account specifically for the PIP. I would imagine, but who knows?
Yeah, exactly. I'll clean up the aggregation. We've got the individual lines are done really well. I think you set this up, Drum, right? Oh, hold on. Just a second.
Yeah.
It's really sweet as far as the individual line items, but the one thing I want to kind of add is the aggregate amount, like that adds them all up. That's kind of the one
I
thing
did
I
have
want to kind of.
something there that I was adding toward one side, or as the whole total of the Atlas disburse ever. But yeah, to be honest, I just wanted to get you started and give you a push and send you to the Sparta hole.
Yeah. I'm just gonna move that line that you have to a more central location because you have it. It's just kind of a little lower. But then I'll do that and I'll send it.
Yeah, let me know if you need help also.
Okay. Yeah. No. This is a good start. I got it from here.
Cool.
I know it's sometimes the numbers. Well, right now we're low on volume, but if we get more volume, don't be shy, and I can take care of some accounts and you take another's, and we can split the job.
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah. It's a solid framework you got here for sure. Oh, you do have the total.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. You put it up top. Okay, I see. Nice. All right. Cool.
It's just at the very end because it's just a very wide form. Because
Yeah.
it's not meant to be shown like that. It's just meant to keep record of everything and give Automata a little window into it as well.
Cool.
Right. All right. Yeah, that's good then.
Y'all ready?
Yeah.
Ready.
Sterling and Stone PIP, also called the PIP for Infinite Star Atlas IP Universe, came in just a few days ago and was immediately started the conversations all over the place. Good, bad, ugly. It got the thumbs up right away. So put this little slide together for you all and everyone else for us to just have a conversation on. Is the $600,000 cost makes it ineligible for PIP 4 right off the bat. It would need to be under 10,000 for it to be an ecosystem fund PIP, which means it falls under PIP 1 and 10. The way PIP 10 came out, it added the knowledge base portion to it. So I whenever you consider a non-ecosystem fund, you're under the rules and regulations of PIP 1 and 10, mostly PIP 1. So we don't have a process right now. SAC 2 doesn't have a process with Automata that we've seen. So we've got to define that process for what a non-ecosystem fund PIP will go through, but it will definitely require a lot more closely consulting with Automata for approval. And that all needs to be accomplished before any review takes place to push it to vote, if it goes to vote. So out there on the right, you can see the excerpt I took from PIP 4 and then the other PIP from PIP 1, where it talks about very generically how the author of PIP may submit it for review by the foundation. And then there's some broad language about delegating and how that authority is supposed to happen. This is the first time I think we've taken executed on that. So we've got to develop the process with what Automata is comfortable with, and then what our role in the council is going to be, if any, other than our review. So that's the context.
Can I add, or you want to continue
go right ahead.
the whole thing and then we can come back?
Yep, I think we're good. Go ahead.
Well, then, I just wanted to clarify that the reason we don't have a process for this, it's because Automata doesn't want us to have a process for this. So the intention to limit ourselves to PIP 4 is intentional on the team, and they want to see the DAO grow before we take on those. So in this case, yes, we would have to create a process, but it's not just as simple as coming with some ideas about a process and proponing it and passing it. We will need as placing consent from Automata that they want to go on with this, and that seems all extremely unlikely right now. So I just wanted to adjust expectation there. That yes, we will need to create some processes that don't exist right now because we haven't been allowed to do them. And those processes would change the whole way that a PIP is voted and the rules about it and how much quorum you need, and how much of a majority you need to pass, because this is a lot of money for the DAO. So in this case, if we get there, it's going to be extremely, extremely complicated.
Yeah. Then that's the part where I wish I was able to push the governance pip refresh, because I think that would have solved this up front. That the thing that always confused me, even when I first got into the DAO 8 months ago, was what the ecosystem fund was precisely. Because PIP 1 established the process, and then the ecosystem fund comes in with PIP 4 saying 5% this, and then the smaller scope of things. And it wasn't clear to me or anyone else, as far as I'm concerned, that meant that ecosystem fund was the only way you could get a
And
community fund.
it's 5% of the 20%, so it's not 5% of the vault. It would be more like 1% of the vault.
Yeah. In any case, I'm working on a government's refresh pip to clarify that language to make it much more clear, and I just haven't had the time to get it done. So here we are with needing to do it because there's a pip on the floor for that to take place. So that means the 25 thumbs up, that's part of the ecosystem fund and the knowledge base, so not part of the non-ecosystem fund pip process. So what Carlos was just saying, we have to invent the wheel here to get it through, if it goes through, and that if is based on basically cost benefit analysis, ROI assessment, and just a general look at it to say, does this make sense for the ecosystem? That's all I've got for context before we get into the meat of it. Bodhi, open up to you. Opening remarks.
Yeah. Well, first of all, just shout out to Vert for opening up the discussion. You know, I definitely I'm really grateful that we're just able to even talk about the main treasury, because I've always kind of been under the impression, like kind of like what you said, that the ecosystem fund is just that is all it is. And I knew that there was like a roundabout way of going about it, but it just seemed so like, I guess like it was like a, I don't know, taboo is not the right word, but it's like you couldn't really even talk about it. It was just like, nope, ecosystem fund only. So I'm glad the discussion's opening up, because there's a lot of different ways that, you know, there's a lot of different things. I would like these different options.
Yeah. Emperor?
No, I love this too. If somebody's got a hot mic, I don't know who that is, but I think it went away.
Yeah, it went
No,
away.
I love this. I'm all about it. Personally, as a polis holder, I haven't formed an opinion yet because I don't know enough about any of this stuff. To be quite honest, I'm not a marketing guy. But I am looking forward to continued conversations. It's really cool. I'm going to steal Drum's thunder here. It's really cool to see all the engagement, the back and forth. It's been pretty civil for the most part as well. So I'm all about it. And if we can create a process, that's one of the bigger reasons I wanted to be on the council, is to create processes. But I will go on record saying I don't want to create a precedent. Or I want to be careful when we're creating precedents. And I think we are being careful with that. So I'm excited.
You are on record now as saying
Boom.
it. Yeah, as you all can sense, there is a healthy discussion going on within the council where we're looking into this ourselves to see what our place is, what our role is. And to me, this isn't a surprise because I DAO everywhere else, and PIP 1 is the sort of thing you'd expect to see where the treasury is open for anyone most of the time, and then this sub funding route called the ecosystem fund. It was never my understanding that was the only way to fund it. But what I didn't factor in was Automata's viewpoint on that. So from the outside looking in, that's not obvious. But then once you get into our ecosystem, you see just how involved they are and how much we need to get their concurrence and their buy-in on the route forward. So that's why there is that's why you're seeing what you're seeing. All right. Other than that, let's just get into the heart of it. Does anyone the thing itself, from what I can tell, and I put this in the chat for everyone to see. Sterling and Stone is a full service creative writing studio. They write novels, they do marketing, they do editing. They're kind of your full service, what they used to call vanity presses, which means that not the big ones like Penguin that you see on the huge New York Times bestseller lists or in at the front of the store in Barnes and Noble. They they are now, looks like they have a full writing staff. So to me, they seem fully capable of expanding that IP, and that's just my take on it. You know, I'll pause it there for a second, guys. I think we're probably resolved that we don't want to go through the pip itself right now. Yeah, we agreed on that.
Correct. Yeah, because it's not actionable.
Correct.
We don't need to follow a process here because this is just theory crafting.
Okay. All right. So then, other than me just spitting out what I put here on the slide, what should we talk about then?
That's a question of the $1 million.
One thing I'd like to open up for discussion is possible alternatives for, like the 100,000 to $500,000 range. Like,
Hold on.
I can only imagine that there's just a lot of different options. So I'd like to just get nothing specific. Like this is very specific. But
Like
just
an
in general,
opportunity cost?
yeah, exactly. Because once we get up into these
Oh.
amounts, starting to look at opportunity costs of, you can really only pick a couple of these big budget items. So I'd like to figure out what those possible alternative avenues are.
Yeah,
Right,
that's a good way to go. I think that's probably really germane to what Automata is looking for as well. So what else could we do with that 600,000? Well, I think like was pointed out earlier, there aren't any other pips on the floor that cover that sort of that range. And Bodhi, I think you pointed out is that it's probably because most people didn't think or understand that was available to them.
That's my impression. Yeah, I mean, I feel like if the narrative would have been like, hey, the Treasury has $1.7 million in it, and put your best idea forward, I feel like we'd have more ideas. But it was more like, hey, you can do $10,000 in the ecosystem fund. So whatever you can do with that, it's like, I think the environment hasn't really been conducive to this discussion until right now. That's why I wanted to say shout out to Bert, because he really kind of opened that door. Whether or not it was close, I don't know why it was the way it was. I don't know if that was intentional or what, but now it's just kind of an open discussion, and I feel like it hasn't really been that way.
So about 8 months ago, go ahead, Ember.
Go ahead.
I'll wait until after that.
Okay. Now, I'm sitting here thinking about maybe the best use of time and stuff. I think it'd be really easy to come up with dreams, but one thing that is the only way that this PIP is gonna move forward, and we've been told several times, is if it has a massive amount of community buy-in. So I'd be curious to know our thoughts and get some ways to quantify a large amount of community support. Have you guys thought about that, or is that something we should talk about to throw that out there? Because it's all a moot point, whether it's this one or other dreams or anything else that doesn't fit in the ecosystem fund. To change and to set a precedent, you got to have a large amount of community buy-in.
Well, right
I don't know.
now it has 41 thumbs up. What else would that be if not large amounts of community support?
Well, it could be a higher percentage of yes votes on the PIP. Instead of 51%, it could be a higher percentage that's needed.
Like a
Yeah,
higher
so
quorum?
there's there's quorums that's been thrown out. There's super majority that's been thrown out. I personally wouldn't think, I don't know what's first, the chicken or the egg, right? Does autonomous set set for this exact PIP minimum quorum and
No,
some of these guidelines, or
I think
do
I think the right way to proceed with this would be to create a PIP to establish a process for the special, high investment or high impact PIPs. There are PIPs that are above the regular PIP, like this one, and that would set. Then you would set rules like quorum, so it has to be a minimum amount of people involved in the process voting, and then super majority, so it's more than 60 or 70% of the policyholders. So ideally, what you want to make sure is that it has actual support and not just a small, powerful group. And these two measures would help a lot on that.
Well, and
However,
oh, go ahead.
we don't know if I can make that PIP and have it for next week to review and the idea, but still that's not enough for this to move forward. Like, this has to have express consent from Star Atlas, and I think our vision of the community is very limited on our DAO chat, and this should be an activity that Santi should take over and do polls and do spaces and do tweets, and Automata is more qualified to get this than us, because we are just gonna have the few people that come and give their opinion all the time.
Well, those are the people who are motivated to participate. I don't think it's Automata's role to take on the DAO's responsibilities.
Well, from an
This is
exposure,
not a responsibility of the DAO right now. That's the issue. This is Automata making this move. That's why we have to convince Automata, because the DAO doesn't have power to do this. And the DAO, the council doesn't have power to do PIPs of governance. So we would have to have express permission from Automata to make this PIP about special rules for special PIPs, and then have their permission for Virtual to introduce that, and then go to the governance process with those rules.
No, this is what doesn't make sense. 8 months ago, if you look in the foundation chat, I asked this question, and at the time I didn't really know who was who, but I asked, why was there a PIP 1 and a PIP 4? It seemed PIP 1 already establishes the authority for anyone within the Star Atlas ecosystem to propose a PIP, and there is no dollar limitation attached to it. And then PIP 4 comes in behind and says, wait, for these few things, you can put it in the ecosystem fund and it'd be 5%. That authority is already there. The only thing that changed was Automata's perspective on it. That's it. The authority rests with PIP 1 right now.
PIP 1 is the founding of the DAO, and the whole process, the whole existence of the process itself. And then PIP 4 was put as a filter for the beginning of the process.
That's not what it
Just
says, though.
to limit impact.
The PIP
But it is what it is.
describe
I
itself
mean,
as that.
we know when we've talked with the people that wrote it. I agree that the language doesn't explain everything, but that doesn't mean that we don't know why it's there and how it's there.
You read it from the plain language of what was voted on. That's why I have to do a refresh. So we'll fix that in PIP 4, but the larger one that I was doing was the PIP 1, PIP 10 refresh, which is probably where we can put in the new process for the non-ecosystem fund PIPs. I think if we just finish that, what I started, then all this will be solidified.
So Lancer, where you're coming from, correct me if I'm wrong, is that when we're talking about developing this process for these non-ecosystem fund PIPs, your argument is that we already have that process in PIP 1.
Yeah, PIP 1 establishes in the paragraph, where'd it go? Here, drafting a PIP. Any member of the Star Atlas community may draft a PIP as long as it adheres to the Star Atlas ecosystem's guiding principles and other requirements set forth in the proposal. This is your process.
Yes, but PIP 2 gives all the authority to the foundation to say yes or no, and the foundation says no to everything that is the ecosystem fund.
Yes.
So we know why we're limited to the ecosystem fund.
No.
And we know as a council we don't have authority to do any of this.
That's only.
And anyone can propose a PIP any day about governance or 600,000 or 600 million, doesn't matter. But that doesn't mean that it's going to go anywhere. And as we know the
never
process,
means that. And no doubt does
and
it ever mean that.
because we're just part of the community, and we're just interfacing and filtering noise from the community to the foundation.
This
And
is why this
unfortunately,
refresh pip is so important. Because what you voted
Yeah.
yes,
on
I
and what you're
understand.
telling me are two different things.
We don't have a functional DAO right now.
Yes, we do. What?
we I mean, we kind of do, but we don't. We don't have a superior. We don't have anyone in charge. We don't have anyone making the decisions. Our automata is making those decisions right now, and the legal side of the foundation is keeping the legal side clean. But other than that, we don't really have a way to make these processes. So we still dependent on automata to give the foundation directives on how to proceed on these things.
We're dependent on automata because automata says we need to be dependent on them. The rules are already here. You're staring at them right now. The rules are voted
Well,
on. They're in place.
I will say it's a good thing that this discussion is happening before you did all this work rewriting these, because now we can kind of add
Yeah.
some of these.
I think now
these
you see
parts.
why I'm doing it, and we can add to it now with the extra stuff that are coming out of Bert's pip.
Yeah.
Again,
This is the pip process. The ecosystem fund is layered
PIP
on top
one
of it.
explains to you how to do this PIP. You go and make the PIP, and that PIP won't go anywhere because Automata has it blocked. So we have the concept, we have the vision for the future of the DAO, and then we have the reality of the now. And I'm trying to stay pragmatic to the reality.
What's pragmatic is what's voted on.
Because we don't have any power.
You're
Well, we're gonna have
right.
to talk to. We're gonna have to talk to Automata throughout this process and figure out exactly what they would need. Like, because ultimately,
I think Swag,
from what it
explained
sounds
that.
like, if it goes through the correct process, we don't know what that is yet. But if it does go through, hypothetically, the pips can go somewhere. I mean, they're saying that as much this last week, well, over and over again, that there is actually a way. It's just we don't have that. We don't have that way
Right.
built yet. So we just have to work together with them and figure out what exactly they're looking for.
Listen, going by what you're saying, we don't need anything else. Virtual can just put that draft and that's it.
Yeah, and
because he's following the PIP one. He's following the PIP one directions.
That's exactly what he did.
Yeah,
and now it's on us and Automata.
And it's not on us. We don't have any power over this.
Yes, we do, Carlos.
We don't. We, as a council, we don't.
I don't know why you keep saying we don't. Swags posted in the chat
because we were told so.
Swags posted in the chat that he's looking for advice on how to proceed. That's us.
Yes, we can fulfill a role of communication between the community and
we're
the team.
doing more than that. We're
fine.
We're proposing rules.
But this doesn't fall under our jurisdiction, really, because we don't have any power to authorize any of this.
Yeah, you're
being
about the PIP itself, and Lancer, you're talking about the process,
right?
Yeah,
and I
so,
have
and you guys
the
are both right.
receipts
You
from
don't
8
have
months ago. If I pull the receipts, I already got this question answered. I just need to go back and look 8 months ago in the foundation chat when they explained. I can't remember who they was. I don't know if it was Swag or who else, but they explained that yes, the ecosystem fund exists. It's for the smaller subset, but the larger PIP process is still intact. You can still do it. Just no one has. And that's been my understanding since before I even became a council member.
No, you missed a big part of the conversations like 10 times then.
No, Carlos, I didn't miss part of the conversation.
Yeah, we were told we can only do ecosystem fund stuff, and that's it. Period. We were literally told so.
Clearly, that's not true because there's a proposal on the table right now for just that.
But there's even screenshots around. I saw one yesterday.
I don't think
so.
you're interpreting
I think
that.
It was put in this conversation. If you scroll up a little bit on the DAO chat, by Wagner.
Well, I think a lot of this is a distinction without a difference, really. Like ultimately, we do have to. We just have to work together with the team, and that is something that we can do, is work together with the team, kind of like what we did with the ecosystem fund, and figure out exactly what that process should look like, because PIP one's not covering. Obviously, it's not sufficient because the team isn't just accepting it.
Right.
So,
but
we got to kind of
just
figure it out.
We knew that it would always have to go to them, and that part was never in question to me. But then again, neither is the ecosystem fund. It all goes to Automata no matter which way it goes.
Right now,
Okay,
yes,
so
of course.
okay,
So
I'm gonna jump in here. So I completely I agree that our hands are a little tied right now, especially since there was a subsequent PIP after 4. I can never remember the numbers that told us what we could specifically do as a council, and so
PIP 10.
that's Drum's lens. But I
Yeah.
also agree that PIP 4 had some language in there that needs cleaned up. I agree personally with both of them. What I think
100%.
would be a better thing to concentrate on rather than this is some of the stuff that Donovan's putting in there. How do we quantify? Let's as the council and as the community help. How do we quantify if the community wants it? And so that's what I think. And Donovan put a suggestion in here or a question. Can we vote on non-actionable pips just to gauge interest? That's an interesting concept. We don't. Could we? Could the council propose a pip that isn't binding, but it still goes to vote?
I am not
To
sure that
gauge
Automata
that.
wants. I don't want. I'm not sure Automata wants or needs to do this with weighted votes.
Well, the normal thing you would do is higher quorum or supermajority. I think Emperor already talked about that.
Yeah.
A lot
For
of the
for a,
DAOs
for a,
call it like
for something
constitution
as impactful,
sips or
yes.
proposals.
One thing I want to throw out there is I feel like, there's a huge range when we're talking about the overall treasury. We're anywhere from over $10,000, right? Like more than the ecosystem fund PIP to 1.7 million technically. So there's a huge range there. I feel like there should be different kind of thresholds where at maybe up to $100,000 it's a little bit easier to get that consensus than say $1 million, right? Like I feel like I don't think we should have one because of the range there and how big of a difference it is from 50,000 to 1 million. I don't think we can have one system of deciding, okay, like this is enough. I feel like it should be, a little bit easier for some of the smaller pips that are still past an ecosystem fund, $50, $100,000, etc.
Yeah, I think
Than
if we just
something.
put a line in saying non-ecosystem fund pips have either 50 or 75% quorum or a supermajority, or sorry, 50, 75% supermajority, or X number of millions of votes. That's a good way to gate it. The higher ones would need more support.
I agree. Yeah, I think there needs to be a range. I think that's one thing that I keep thinking is
Well, that's what I was going
just
to
because of
propose, and I'll
yeah.
propose that in the refresh. And see, what is PIP 10? It had 85 million PvP, and then PIP 18, the last one, 41 million. So there's a pretty wide range. So if we make it to where a non-ecosystem PIP needs 100 million PvP and 75% of the vote, then there you go.
I think that's the
Okay.
perfect standard. Meaning, so when someone introduces something that goes outside of the ecosystem, technically you could do it, but like you would only do it if it was something that you were so sure that like a ton of people would vote for and the vast majority of the community would pass. And it just creates a much, much higher standard. Because once you open that door, technically, someone could introduce a proposal that uses the entire treasury. And,
Yeah.
so 75% and 100 million PVP, and, combined as requirements really isn't that much for technically the entire treasury could be used.
Well, that's why I think it should be a range, right? I think for let's say for like $100,000, it's 70%, 100 million PvP, and then to use like the entire treasury, it's like like you said, like that number that we just gave isn't very difficult. Whereas for the entire treasury, it should be extremely difficult. It should be the most difficult. So then,
Yeah.
and then everything else kind of falls somewhere in between. Like maybe you have like I don't know 3 or 5 or whatever different tiers based on if it's 100,000 or
I don't think we need to overcomplicate. I think we need to make a case for a special high impactful pips that should be, it should be very easy to recognize them and
Well,
just include the quorum and the supermajority. But we still
what's your
we still
definition
have
of high impact pip though?
What's
your definition of a high impact pip though? Because the way I see it is, if it's not an
it could be something that is a big change in the governance system, or something that depletes a big part of the vault. But I think it would be, we don't need to constrain it to too much detail.
But
it looks like
So
we have a real tough time getting above 100 million for our pips. So that would be a tough one, a challenging one to make. But 75% seems to be, some of them get 75%, some of them don't.
So I got a question. I'm going to bring it back to this. I think this is obviously a really good discussion to have, and it's really big. What are the thoughts as I'm sitting here reflecting on Donovan's question as well? What if there is a non-binding PIP? There's nothing written about this. There's no precedent. There's no anything. What if somebody proposed a PIP, a community engagement, community temperature check on virtual's PIP?
Yeah,
That's
some DAOs do
non-binding. It
that.
doesn't mean anything.
If
we
it's
did
police
that?
weighted, I think it doesn't work.
If it's what?
Police weighted.
Well, that's what you could use a different version. Hell, you could do a few different versions.
Well, you're describing a poll. You're just describing a poll, to be yes or no.
I know that's what I'm saying. What if you did a PvP poll PIP, a non-binding one, and you did a supermajority one, and you did a individual, or maybe you combine them all into one. I don't know the technicalities of it, but you do a PIP, and this has been discussed in the past, that one vote, one polis holder is one vote, or some other weighting mechanism.
Yeah, but if you do it for account, you can then multiply accounts, and it opens this big. We've had this conversation so many times, and it's never gone to a conclusion that is satisfactory. It's really hard to do it with a polis mechanism. I think it's just easier to do a poll or several polls in different ways, and using the Stratlas community team.
I mean, we have the thumbs up system right now.
That doesn't say anything. That's a filter for drafts to clear noise on the ideas.
And a random poll
25 thumbs up
different?
25 thumbs up doesn't mean anything in this case. Absolutely nothing.
You're
for
saying our own ecosystem fund system is abstract. Carlos, I don't agree with that at all.
Hold on, Carlos. How would you go about gauging the community feedback? Just polls? Explain your ideas to me.
Yeah, I mean, the closest tool we have to the community at large, it would be to do polls in all the different mediums, in Discord, in X, in Telegram, in whatever, in YouTube, whatever the Star Atlas has stuff. I don't know. Find one way to involve the people and have them read the PIP and or the idea and give a thumbs up and stuff up. It needs to be a large majority of the people going for this for Automata to consider it. Automata doesn't want to go and extract $600,000 just because someone showed up with a good idea, because good ideas are free.
Yeah.
What about coming back? We can come with all this theory crafting and all these good ideas how we can make a process, but right now we don't have the authority to introduce a PIP for governance. We would need to get permission from the team.
We're having a discussion right now so that we can do that, Carlos. This is the discussion we have to where we come with our own position to go do that.
Hold on. Before we go down this road for the 8th time, you know what, Lanzer, what is a way that you would see, or a few ways to gauge community interest?
I would go entirely off of PvP and percentage of vote personally. I like Lanzer's idea.
Okay.
I know a lot
Any
of
other
people that would hate
suggestions?
with the PvP that Rome has. I know a lot of people that are against that. A lot.
Rome has a
Against?
grand total of 40 million PvP, so they're definitely not going to produce 100 million plus and 75% of the vote. But if you don't like how much PvP Rome has, Polis is like 10 cents. You go buy some.
Yeah.
Dude,
true.
Rome is the only group right now that can pretty much elaborate a pip and pass it on their own. And you just
Who?
need to consider all these things when you are measure temperature on the community, because Automata is not asking us who find out what the PvP is saying about it. It's what the community, if the community really wants this or not. And those
Right.
are
But the whole
completely different
point
things.
the whole point of our voting system is to drive token demand. So if the answer to driving token demand is, well, don't drive token demand, just go off of random community polls and votes, make Polis irrelevant. Not only does that rug and damage Polis holders, but honestly, it rugs and damages the team. They rely on demand for Polis to be able to produce runway. I think it's the best system that we possibly have. If you want to beat out Rome for a vote, good. Go buy it. Just
I
go
don't
buy
mind that
Polis
for voting
and pump our
voting.
bags and have a
I
bigger
don't mind.
vote.
I don't mind that
You're
system
talking
for
over each
voting on
other.
a pip. I don't mind the system for voting for a pip, but not for measuring temperature.
Yeah,
Okay,
so we have
anyway.
a thumbs up, thumbs down system to measure temperature. I think that's sufficient. Then we have
I
a
think we're too
PvP
limited.
system. Sure, every system we can come up with is going to be limited. If you do the Arbitrum
That's my
DAO
point.
temperature check, it's going to be limited.
That's my
If
point.
Who's got a hot mic? This is driving me nuts.
I think
It
it's
was
background.
Sauron. I muted him.
Okay,
Thank you.
gotcha.
So I think that we can balance kind of both sides of the equation as far as bigger entities having a large amount when in the context of these conversations of massive allocations from the DAO, by having like I was saying earlier, stricter requirements on progressively larger value disbursements. And then, but as far as a temperature check, I would like to see a tab on the DAO page where it's basically just a mock vote. I think that would be the closest thing to, because ultimately at the end of the day, that's what's going to pass it in the end. So
But
I
why,
think
Bodhi, why
I
is that
think
important to do if we can just put the real pip in there for them to vote on?
because we
Well,
cannot
because
put the real pip in for them to vote on.
What do
And
you
if
mean?
you want to
Yeah.
prove me wrong, put it.
Yeah, exactly. Right now, we don't have that process. So right now, Swagner's saying like, okay, well, if there's a major support, then we can develop this process that's required to actually have these types of pips go through.
I
And
don't
I
see
think,
how,
okay,
I don't see how
so
the council would be qualified to find that. I
Mhm.
think Automata needs to find out, and that's why they have a team for the community.
Okay, got it.
yeah, so
Got it.
so I
So
would
we
like
have
to,
Personally.
41 thumbs up. Why is that not good enough?
well, because
Because
that's only
no,
41 people to basically use half the DAO. I mean, that just doesn't.
Yeah,
I
well,
don't think.
that's
I
the
don't think.
people who care to participate.
Yeah, but
not
at
enough.
the same time, how many of those people have two PvP
That,
versus
I have
that,
no idea.
that's enough for a meetup, but not for $600,000 for gold.
I have an
I
answer
think you
to
guys are getting
that
too scared of
question. Hold on.
$600,000.
I have an answer to that question. So the thumbs up thing, in my opinion, is to get it to draft stage, and the threshold is 25. There's a lot of times people will see, oh, it hit a threshold. I don't even have to vote. Now in this situation, more did than the 25. So that is a downside to using that, purely using the thumbs up system. That it shows a baby step into um, the level of support from the community. I absolutely agree, but I think it'd be hard pressed to actually use that as a quantifiable data point to get the majority or a large portion of buy-in of people's opinion as to if it's good or not.
Well, why wouldn't you
I
just
think
use the
it's
pip then?
flawed.
As a member
Really,
from the
just a
council that
spam
put the
filter.
thumbs up rule, that thumbs up rule is just to clear noise. So pips that are ridiculous don't go through and we
Yeah.
waste time. So
It's a
we
temperature
actually
check.
start paying attention when they reach the draft stage, because it's supposed that those get that minimum support of 25 thumbs up must be, decent pips. That's all it is. We cannot use to measure popularity on anything, because then
Right,
we
so
would
to
have to add
answer,
thumbs down, and then we would have to do a very complex. And again, I think we're just very limited in our DAO channel. I don't think most people on the Discord go to the DAO channel.
And that's acceptable.
It's a
so to
surprisingly
answer,
good spam filter. I've had a lot of things that just I threw up at a wall, like, "Hey, why don't we do this, guys?" And a lot of them did not get to 25 votes. So it really isn't a bad gauge.
I
Right.
like it. I like it for
A
what
lot
it
of DAOs
for what.
do this. It's called a temperature check. And they also have their own 25, 50, whatever it is, based on their population. It's a fine mechanic. It works just fine.
For,
yeah, but
And if we
for
want
what it
something
is, yes.
quantifiable for support, then put it as a pip so that people can do what they normally do when they vote. So why is that insufficient?
what we're doing is talking in circles. We can't put it up as a pip because there is no process to put it up as a
We're
pip,
talking about
which
the
is
process
why
right now, Emperor.
I understand that, but to say for continual saying the same thing over and over again, there isn't a process. We're gonna work on cleaning up the language. Correct. There's other ways that we could potentially do this, and that's what I'm curious about. We just keep going back to the same thing. What's another way that we could do it? I love the idea of putting the pip up. We can't do that right now. I think getting community feedback is very important. I think that's what Autonoma wants. I think that's what everyone wants. So I'm going to go back to that idea that Donovan had. Just put up and Drum, or I can't remember who said it, have a link on the governance website to get the temperature checked. I think there's ways to do it, including using PvP to take another step. And if Autonoma gets the information and it's viable and they think that it's not being gamed or anything like that, then they could take that information and be more informed. And so that's without sitting here going back and forth with everything on
So doing an
thumbs
info
up
pip,
versus just a
we'd still
fact
need to do a
finding pip.
markdown of it. It'd still need to go through the foundation and Automata, right?
No, it wouldn't have to go.
Not necessarily.
It's just a mock
If
pip.
there's no, if there's nothing, and again, there's no there's no process for this, but maybe we create that process, that information finding process.
Oh, I
it's
thought
a
you meant
potential.
to go through the normal process.
I would work with
No,
Santi and the team.
Yeah.
I
So
think it's
no, it
better.
wouldn't necessarily.
We would have a larger scope, and we would have access to a lot more people. Why wouldn't we do this? Is my question.
I think Santi should basically advertise the mock pip. If we had a tab in the DAO page for just mock pick temperature check type pips that didn't actually have any effect in the end, but it was just strictly basically a polling section, but PvP weighted, and then Automata could basically advertise that, hey, everybody go vote on this. We're trying to get an idea of who's in support of this, like put your voice out there. And then I feel like that would be the best temperature check. And it would also give us some feedback as far as, we're looking at like, I don't know, a dozen pips trying to figure out like, okay, what would the threshold be? That would just be an extra data point that we could then use to be like, okay, well, is 100 million actually a lot? Is 70% a lot? Like, what, I feel like we would get a lot of value out of doing it that way.
I absolutely agree. And Drum, you're pretty passionate about your opinion. What do you think about doing a mock pip?
I hate it.
Just as another data point.
I hate it because
point?
we are not measuring PvP approval. We're measuring community interest, and I don't think that. Why are we always amplifying the voice of the same few people?
Because the DAO's treasury belongs to the DAO.
That's fine when it comes to DAO voting, but this is not DAO voting.
It's not the community's money.
Well, no, but I want to be clear here. I don't think that we should. I think that we should first establish like I don't think getting 51% on that mock vote is sufficient. I think that we should have an idea of, okay, we need at least this much approval. We need at least this much votes. Just even for the temperature check. But I think that temperature check would also help us dial in that number for the
Outlets
real.
should do their own temperature check, because I don't know why we have to be campaigning for or against. Anyway,
yeah.
you guys may disagree, but that's my opinion. I think it's shit.
That's fair.
Opinion
Tell us how
is
you
that
really
the
feel,
treasury
Carlos.
belongs to the
Carlitos.
Polish voters.
I definitely think, though, that for something this size, effectively, this is basically half of the DAO. I mean, from a dollar value, it's not, but like once you start selling Atlas, it kind of comes in line to that halfway mark pretty quick.
Yeah, I agree.
So
with
I
you.
think, relatively speaking, like as far on the spectrum of how much, as far as a quorum or a supermajority, it's going to be pretty far on that spectrum. So I totally get where you're coming from, Drum. I also have my own reservations about like, that weighted PvP just being used like, above all else. But I think you can kind of reconcile that with, categorizing something as like, okay, this is highly consequential. This is going to drain a significant portion of the DAO. Like, we need to have a very strict, like we need a overwhelming support, which kind of does the same thing, right? Like you can't just have, like you're going to need a lot of the smaller voters to be on your side as well at some point.
We're stuck. We're stuck between abstracts because we're put in this fucking weird position where they tell us like, "Oh, you have to convince us," and like, how do we do that? And you don't have a process for that, and you cannot do this and you cannot do that. But hey, check this out. I think it's bullshit. I think Automata needs to find out if they want to do it or not, and let us know if this is possible, so we can jump on the governance side and propose the pips and get the discussion going, approve what we have to approve, and then see what happened with weighted polls. But before that, we need to know what the actual owner of the vault wants.
I fully agree with Drum on that one.
I
a good point.
agree.
That
I
is a good
agree.
point.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that.
Yep, I am.
So, Emperor, do you agree with that?
Yeah, I absolutely
Okay,
do. To be
I'm
honest,
gonna write that down. Something we can agree on. Sack 2 agrees.
that's weird.
How did this happen?
Oh, by the way, that was off the record.
and we agreed with Drum in his
I know,
hashtag
I know.
fiery.
Okay, so I heard two things that we agree on. One, we agree that we need to get Swagner's opinion on whether or not he wants to pursue this. The second thing, I think we all agree that a non-ecosystem fund PIP that exceeds the 5% should go under stricter standards. It should be tougher to get through. Yes?
I think progressively tougher, depending as you get up into higher
Yeah.
valuations, because the range is insane. I mean,
Yeah. So
$20,000
does anyone disagree with that
PIP
then?
is out of
So I want to write that down, because then we're just talking about how we measure it. All right, I'm writing those two things down. Well, I would propose the higher supermajority, higher quorum. Emperor, I have that you propose the mock pip, which is like an additional temperature check. And Carlos proposed different polls published by Automata for
down.
maximum community participation. I think between one of these routes, we have our winner somewhere in there.
I'm just gonna add the progressive thing in there that I've been talking about.
Progressive. Oh yeah, progressively harder. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Hold on, I need to.
Well, I don't know if everybody agrees to that. Okay, there you go. Nice.
Oh, I got you. I'm quoting you exactly.
Yes, hey man.
Need
Fine.
to get Swagner's opinion. I'm just gonna say a verdict about whether he wants to proceed with this or not. And yeah, I do think that would shortcut this. So agrees that a non-ecosystem fund PIP, which is really plus 5% of what did you say? 5% of 20%?
Yeah.
Of should be harder to pass. Okay. How about we all take a breather? We're an hour and a half in, and just call that a victory for the discussion.
I'm good with it.
Yeah, that was solid.
I need to go. I'm hosting a thing here, and I have
All right, your
my guest
familia.
downstairs for an hour and a
Yeah,
half
yeah.
without me.
Carlitos, man, it was good. It was good discussion, man. I love
Drum
you.
is just
We love each
pacing
other.
around, dropping f bombs about the DAO, and now he's got to go host a party.
All right, Carlitos.
These fucking DAOs. Oh,
It-
hey
it-
everybody.
It's wine o'clock. All right, love you.
Oh yeah. There you go.
Take care, guys.
All
You
right.
can always
Yeah.
come to my sincere opinion, though.
So I think we could probably taper it off right there and just gather our thoughts, hit it again, at in council chambers, and then come back next week with a plan. Maybe I'll work a little harder to get the governance pip refresh something drafted, and then we can look at that with fresh eyeballs and then go at it again.
Sounds good.
All right.
Delightful.
Delightful.
Man, that was good. I like that conversation.
It was great.
Yeah.
There was actually one last thing I wanted to say too, is that that mock pip process could also be a poll of sorts too. You know how Emperor was saying, we could have like a poll, and then these individual type of metrics. You can kind of do all that in one, in a way, right? Like if you
Mhm.
have, instead of just showing, okay, I got 400 votes, well, how many of those votes were yes and how many were no? And then also aggregate the PvP in there too. So I think a mock pip page could kind of serve multiple functions there on that front.
Okay.
But obviously we would need Automata to do that, and then we'd want them to be the ones kind of pushing that out a little bit more, because they got more exposure than we do.
Yeah. All right. We'll break there. Thank you, everybody, for your time. You can see how all of us, we don't all agree together, and that's okay. We all have our perspectives. We talk about it. We're family at the end of the day, and there you go.
And that's the point. People elected us because they saw us as a bunch of really smart people who also wouldn't just form some kind of monopoly and all agree with each other and take over the DAO. Like it's by design, that we have different philosophies and thoughts and opinions and outlooks.
Yeah, and we're all each pretty passionate about some form of this in some way, as you can see. All right, we'll see y'all next week. Go team,
Bye,
go.
guys.
Thanks, guys.